Books make you hope. Books make you dream. Books make you laugh. Books make you scream. This is the Books That Make You show, discussing books with authors and experts, unraveling the inner pages of all the books that help make us who we are.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Desiree Duffy, and this is the Books That Make You show. And we are talking about books that make you flip upside down and see the world in a new way. And maybe, just maybe, become a prolific children's book writer, just like Kelly Anne Manuel. Now, she is here with an array of positive messages for kids with 4 captivating book series in, get this, a total of 31 books, one for each day of the month in these 4 series. Now, Kelly's books meet children where they are in their journey. They're about permission and helping children see the world in both an entertaining and in an inspiring way. Her titles are reversals of familiar phrases such as boots rain rather than rain boots. And it's by shifting perspectives that she sees things through a child's perspective. Her energy is connected. Her journey as an author is, let's say, uncommon. And the way that children respond to Kelly and her books is absolutely life-changing. Kelly, hello. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Desiree. Thank you for having me. This is great.
My pleasure. Let's start with talking about the fact that you've released 31 books in a very short period of time. And I've worked with authors and books myself for a long, long time. And I don't think I've ever had somebody not only write the books, but do the art and the cover and then have them all published in such a short amount of time. Can you tell us why, Kelly, did you feel compelled to write and publish these 31 books?
Yes, absolutely. I would start with that. The books came after a lot of life experiences and a lot of self-work. I did the work and then the books came, bottom line. And the first book came and I thought it was an only child. Then the rest came and I realized I was having multiples. So I went from an only child to multiples. Once they came and once I heard them, I had to have quiet, both in my inner and outer world. And that's where the healing and the work on myself came in. Once internally, I was quiet, I heard them in poems. They came in poems and poetry. And then I took the poem and I made it into a story. And then I have gratitude for the illustrators who I've never met that I found to match the words of the 31 stories, which was incredible. And I'm so grateful to these artists that I don't know them, but their art matched the poems, which matched the stories. And I did feel an urgency once they were there to get them out into the hands of children. I did. It was time. They were meant to be heard here and now. And I felt a responsibility, a bit of a mission and a purpose as far as children go for me, wanting to support them, uplift them, and do anything I can to support them wherever they are on their journey.
Yeah, it's an amazing author journey, unlike any I've ever heard before. What is it? You touched on what children get out of your books, but what do you feel that children will learn from your books?
Gosh, one of the biggest pieces of the books is that they're rhyming. They're rhyming. And rhyming is a huge part of development for early childhood learning and for reading. And it's proven. So right off the bat, you've got the rhymes. But second of all, what I really want to do is entertain children. I want them to be children. I want them to have fun. So first and foremost, even beyond the benefits of the rhyming, entertainment. Let's put some joy in childhood. Let's let them have joy from literature. Let's make reading fun. Then you can get into other layers of the learning that the books really hold. And because the layers are there and the books are engaging enough that the child will reread them. And at different stages, they'll learn different things. But it's such an individual journey. So I really do leave that up to each child to figure out what they're going to learn from the books. But I've put it all into a format that will make learning natural, organic, and enjoyable.
Oh, I love that. Now, there are 4 series, and we're just scratching the surface, focusing on one book from each series. But
Sure.
can you tell me a little bit about each series? Let's start with the Essentials series.
Okay, yeah, the Essentials. So The World's Small is one of the Essentials. All right, so the Essentials are what I would kind of consider day-to-day informative, ritual creating, how you go about your day stories, okay? They're about positive self-talk. They're about positive affirmations, mantras, ways that the child will talk to themselves that will get them motivated, excited. And then sometimes even the Essentials will come in to help maybe with something that is a little challenging in the day of the child. So these are meant to be a tool that you pull out daily. You know, The World's Small is about connectedness, and it's about how we are all connected globally, and our children are especially so. And I want the world, that's what The World's Small does, but it also gives a little insight to where different places look like and what they might feel like, but at the same time feeling connected to the distant places. So the Essentials, even I would go so far as to say, give tools for facing fears. Mm-hmm. And also I use nature and the animal kingdom to support the children in the Essentials.
I love that. You're so right. The world is small. We've heard that saying before. I love the way you flip that around, and just using that as the premise for all of the wonderful books within the Essentials series. Let's move on to the Rainbow's End series. Can you talk about that one?
Yeah, the Rainbow's End, the Boots Rain. Mm-hmm. The Rainbow's End is all about, they are destination books, transportation books. So they take you from reality to imagination, because they take you to a tale of a rainbow's end. Mm-hmm. Anything, and I mean anything, can happen at the tail of a rainbow. And those books are meant to bridge the gap between reality and imagination for a child who's a specific type of learner, and also for an adult caregiver, auntie, who's reading the story from an adult reality, and they want to bridge the gap to where the child is. Mm-hmm. So Rainbow's End stories are really great tools for that bridge. They bridge the gap. And boy, what fun, what discussions will come from the Rainbow's End tales.
Oh, yeah. And I do. I want to talk to you about the discussions and how that evokes different conversations within the child's life. Let's go through and hit the classics.
Yes. Oh, the classics. Yeah. See, when I talk about my illustrators and my gratitude, this is the perfect example. Whenever I get to meet this illustrator, it'll be a great day for me. So the classics, all the books are timeless, but the classics are particularly so timeless. All generations are going to pick up a classic and find something in it for them, even though they're written for children, okay? Mm-hmm. They're layered, they're broad themes. Things like falling asleep, things like boundaries in The Catch Your Dream, huge mm-hmm. messages for children in The Catch Your Dream. I mean, this book when I talk about a launch pad for discussion, that's The Catch Your Dream. Mm-hmm. And the things that the art, the children are just drawn in by it. So they engage. It's active. It's not passive. And that's what the classics do. And they're timeless. These mm-hmm. will be handed down. I promise. You buy once, generation to generation. And the children will never tire. The adults will never tire, because each time you're going to glimpse a little something different in the classics.
Yeah. All right. And how about the My Name Is series?
Yes.
We have.
Yes, my name is Light is the one we chose from this series to focus on. The My Name Is series is all about self, the identity, self-esteem, confidence, personality. The other thing the My Name Is series does is it exposes kind of duality about internal and external. As I spoke about my own internal and external need for quiet to create, there's so much in child development that we need to address when it comes to internal and external. And that is what the My Name Is series does. And it uses humor, it uses irony. And by the end of it, you're kind of giggling, but it's also thought-provoking. So, they're just delightful.
Yeah. All the books are delightful. Tell us about children and how they respond to your books. What are some of what's some of the feedback?
It's great. I mean, as young as 8-month-old,
Wow.
great nephew. So I will be looking into board books because at 8-month-old, it's catching and keeping the attention. Then I've got my dad who's almost 80, or I guess he's just 80. He loves them. So because there are inner children in all of us, my books speak to the inner child. Mm-hmm. So the age is not important, but the child recognizes my energy, and they know that I only care about what's best for them. It comes through in how I communicate with them. It comes through in how I write. It comes through in the illustrations that get married to my words. They feel it. It doesn't have to be spoken. It's almost a silent connection that I feel really privileged to have with children. And it gives me joy. It gives me purpose. It gives me energy. That's what I care about.
Yeah. And this concept of meeting the child where they are in their journey, because they're at different stages as children, just like adults are at different stages in our entire life journey. I think it's beautiful how you've done that. And then this concept as well of permission. Can you talk about what that means in your books to the children?
Absolutely. A lot about permission is from my own life story, and every one of the books is a piece of me and a piece of my journey. And what I would like is for some of the things I've experienced to be put into story format where they can be helpful without someone actually having to go through certain experiences. So I want to give the child the benefit of what I've learned. And that's what I do through the stories. And there's a theme of resilience, and permission is part of that. The fact that boundaries are important. There's a gray area, and there's then black and white. So the books run the gamut from, serious boundaries in The Catch Your Dream to anything is possible in The Boots Rain. So there is a gamut. So if you're looking for lighthearted, it is there. If you're looking for some more serious themes and for some coping mechanisms for children that might be going through some really vulnerable stages, that's also there. So there is a variety within all the series and all the books that meet the child where they are with with very particular experiences that come from my own life story.
And that's great that you're sharing that with children who might not have the context. They don't know what they don't know. And just a simple letting them know that if they're experiencing something that breaks through their boundaries, understanding they have boundaries like you do in The Catch Your Dream. Like you explain what a boundary is to a child who might not have thought of that or heard of that or knew that was really, really a thing. Can you talk a little bit, about how even on the backs of the book, you include kind of prompts for people to use, whether they're an educator or a parent, etc. Talk about how you make the books accessible to the adults in the child's life.
Absolutely. The synopsises, I put a good deal of effort into those. The poetry and the stories were so organic, natural, easy. The synopsises, I really wanted to invest a lot of myself and my time and my knowledge of early child development from working with children in the preschool environment and from the administration standpoint and what I've learned over the years. So I took my work experience and I combined it with what the stories bring so that an adult, a parent, a caregiver, an auntie, a librarian, whoever it may be, a decision maker can read the synopsis and say, this will be very suitable for this situation. Mm-hmm. This will be very suitable for that situation. And what's so incredible is with 31 stories, we're hitting a lot of situations, which is the whole idea between getting all 31 books out. That's the whole idea, so that the support is there for the children. And it's amazing that it's also there for whoever else is interacting with the book.
Yeah. And now, would you say that these are great additions to a classroom setting, librarians, people in that setting of a child's life?
Absolutely, because of the layer of support. Mm-hmm. They really and truly are a layer of support. And when you work with children, you want as many layers of support for them as possible. So if it's in a library and the child notices it, because the art, once again, I thank the illustrators, is so catching and engaging. The art is the first thing that will catch the child's eye. So yes, it would be wonderful if they're in those spaces so the child can have access to it. And then they'll want more. So once they discover one of the books, then they'll be curious about more of the stories and want to continue with more of the series. So that's why it's just a wonderful idea for the entire series to be available at, say, a library, something like that, where once the child is ignited and curious, then they can keep going and discover more and more and more that's available.
Yeah. Okay. I think I might, if you're up to it, Kelly, ask you to read a little bit from one of the books. You don't have to read the whole thing. We don't want to give away anything, but we'll have you pick one to read. Would you like to do that for us?
Absolutely. Let's do Catch Your Dream.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it is just so strong. I just think we'll start from the beginning and give a few pages to give the reader an idea of what these books are about. Okay.
Go ahead. And I'll hold it up while you're reading. So
please do. Just the other night, I met the Catcher Dream. It tried to enter my window, so I made quite a scene. It spoke in a voice that was a bit scary. It made me feel guarded and also quite wary. It made a request that felt like an order. So I told it to step back and respect my border. Is that a good place?
I love that. Yes, I love that. I think, Kelly, you're right. That underscores exactly what we're talking about. You're framing an experience that children might have one day, and you're doing it in a way that's letting them know that they have the control, because people won't tell them that. Nobody will think of telling them that. And you do it in such a entertaining, like you say, inspiring way. And you're right. The art, the poems, everything, it just comes together so eloquently, so beautifully. Thank you for doing that.
It's a great book.
I
feel these are important.
Yeah, yeah. Now, this is something too, because obviously there's mom and dad, and we talked about the educators, the librarians, but there's also grandma, grandpa, aunties, and uncles. What would you say to other members of the family? Do you think these books make good gifts, especially around birthdays?
Oh my gosh,
holidays?
you'll be very popular. Because they will literally give you one-on-one time with the book. And whether it's FaceTime, if you're a grandparent who has distance. And I was even thinking about some of the military families where the parents are in the military and they're reading to their children over the computer, that it doesn't matter if you're doing the Catch Your Dream over a computer or on your lap with a child. The experience will still be as amazing either way. So that's why, as a gift, yes, absolutely. I have given them to my great nephews, and it is one of the biggest joys to see a 3-year-old carrying the book around under his arm, around the house and asking about some of the words, because I do use words that are verbally challenging. So that the child will rise to it. So one of the words I use is garbled. And my great nephew wanted to know, what does garbled mean? So I do throw some words in there that the child will rise up to. But the gift giver, yeah, you're in. You're in. Yeah.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you do that too, because quite often it's easy for children's book authors to keep the words at a certain level. You always hear about certain levels, but you're throwing in very provocative words that start conversations, and it gets that curiosity going again, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe in them. I believe in the child. I believe we got to give them a lot of credit, and they will rise to the occasion.
Yeah, yeah. Now, one of the things that was pivotal for you in your journey to become an author,
yes,
and you call yourself an uncommon author because of this, Kelly didn't start out thinking, I'm going to be an author. A lot of people see it as, this is where I'm going, but you had a very unfortunate event that happened. Would you want to share that with us?
Yeah. It was devastating. We had a fire, and it was a total loss fire. And we were only out of the house a few minutes when it was exploding. And we turned around. We actually passed an emergency vehicle that was going to the fire. We didn't know they were going to the fire. We turned around to lock the front door and came upon it. So we actually witnessed the event, and I can't really explain how devastating that was. It was during a hurricane evacuation, so it was really complicated, and we had just moved into that house full time and had scrubbed every corner. So to have this home that we've put so much love, care, effort into literally explode in front of you, I wish it upon nobody. It's extremely traumatic. However, what I like to get to is what came from that event. Mm-hmm. And one of the main things, like I talked about earlier about internal quiet, was therapy. I couldn't even go to the land where the fire was without a chemical response internally because of the trauma. So I had to get into therapy. It was imperative that I got into therapy. And as I did, other traumas came to the surface. It wasn't just the fire. As I worked on those traumas one by one, more creative gifts or talents started to rise up. Mm-hmm. And I've described it before as pulling away a very old carpet and hoping for hardwoods to be under it. The hardwoods were there, but the carpet had to come up to see the beauty of them. That's a bit of an analogy for my story. So when I got into the fire led to the therapy, mm-hmm. which led to the healing, which led to the books. So without the fire, there are no books.
Yeah.
So, as devastating as it was, now I can look back years later and say, this was for a reason. The other piece of the fire was a bit of a spiritual event for me, because of realizing everything I gave to the home, and it was gone in seconds. And that changed my perspective about some temporary pursuits that I spent my time on. And it made me say, I may need to shift a little bit of how I'm living my life on the planet. And it was a very spiritual time for me. And I, in my Catholicism, I had a moment where I said, look, I'm going to change how I'm doing things, and let's see what happens. Because this was big enough to make me look differently at life and the world. And in that way, I do feel the books are part of my mission and my purpose.
Yeah.
I know they are, but it came from the event.
Yeah. That's amazing. And that just goes to show people that there is that moment that we rise. It's like I get the vision of the phoenix rising, literally in your case, out of the fire. It's that fire being used to kind of cleanse and put things behind you that needed to be put behind you so they could make way for this beautiful gift, your creativity that you're sharing with children all over the world, and moms and dads and aunties and uncles and teachers and all those folks as well. It's just amazing, Kelly, what you've done with these books. I wish I could hold up all 31 books. I don't know if I'd have enough room. But how about if you tell people where they can go online or go to find the books and find out more about you?
Absolutely. I have a profile on Goodreads, happily. And then the books are Barnes & Noble, Balboa Press, that's who I published through, Balboa Press, their bookstore. Then Amazon, Books A Million, Walmart, Target. What's really fun to see is worldwide bookstores have picked up the books. And I just love that. You know, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, India, they have companies that the books are being sold through, which to me is really exciting. So yeah, you can find the books on any of those online stores. They're also, the ebooks are available, and that's even a great way to put your foot in the water with me. Google Play, you can download the book for a couple dollars, one of them, and then you'll want all 31 once you download one. You're in. You're going to love them. So yeah, so there's all kinds of ways to find the books. Thank you for asking.
Oh, you bet. Well, Kelly, thank you so much for being with us, not only here today, but sharing these books with the world, with children. I appreciate you and everything you do. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Desiree. It's really a nice opportunity to be able to talk about the books in this way. I really appreciate you guys.
My pleasure. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today on the Books That Make You show. You can find out more about us on our website. That is booksthatmakeyou.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, of course. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell, get notifications so that you never miss an interview with exciting authors just like Kelly. And don't forget, you can subscribe to our newsletter as well, the Webby Award-winning Books That Make You newsletter. Sign-up form is right on the website. Once again, that is booksthatmakeyou.com. And don't forget as well, we are on TikTok, friends. Until next time, please enjoy all of the books that make you exactly who you are.
The host and executive producer of the Books That Make You show is Desiree Duffy. Sound mastering and engineering by Dave Napox. Social media and content promotion by Siddhi Jahagirdar. Copywriting and editing by Mike Robinson. The Books That Make You show is an award-winning podcast produced by Black Chateau Enterprises.